can we all say, can we agree at least that we have witnessed great countries become completely destroyed under the idea of socialism, communism? I mean, Cuba, 90 miles away from us, here in the state of Florida. Venezuela completely destroyed. Nicaragua, but by the way, at some point it looked like it was heading in the right direction. 18,000 people that deal with maquilas or factories, had been laid off during the course of this year. That's lack of confidence from investment into, guess where investment is pouring in right now, if we're talking about El Salvador and Central America, right? Yeah, there's a group of companies that are lining up right now to say, announcing that they are going to invest in Argentina now. Now, what changed? Well, we have a new president called Javier Milei, who an economist, you know what I mean, that ran a very unusual, non-apologetic type. If you think that Trump was a little over the top,
this guy
was.
On an Argentinian way, they don't know how to do a shit.
I'm not going to deal with a leftist and called in a number of bad names. But the fact of the matter, listen, the guy's not even a conservative. He's a libertarian. You know what I mean? It's many things that I can agree with a libertarian from a financial perspective. I don't like, foreign policies. I don't know that I have to be that concerned when it comes to Argentina, right? Because they're not necessarily playing a military role around the world. But I get concerned when our country start going a little more in the libertarian side. So I will operate more as a conservative.
So for somebody that doesn't understand, what the position would be for a libertarian, can you give us the cliff notes of what that would be?
It's a non-intervention. It's a free market. It's a minimizing the size of government in many ways, and you're going to see parallels. Small government. You're going to see parallels between conservatives and
let the market figure out itself.
Let the market, let the private investment, let minimize the amount of resources that you have to tax people, to give them also, personal accountability, personal responsibility. You have to earn your way through. No welfare statement for no handouts. Help the needy, you know what I mean, is for some of the people, but minimizing, shutting down redundant departments, just like we have in our country today, you know what I mean? We have multiple departments that do the exact same job, and they just overlapping one on top of the other.
That's what people call the swamp.
Exactly. But as a libertarian, that again, non-intervention, minimal intervention from the government. But from a foreign policy perspective, they also don't just simply won't support, get involved, won't put a dime. And a lot of people would say, well, that's not a bad thing. It depends. You know what I mean? That's where I kind of draw the line. Sometimes sometimes you need a good guy watching over the bad guys. Because that's the part that sometimes are good friends from the libertarian side.
But wouldn't it make sense to be like, put your oxygen mask first type of deal?
100%. But the thing is,
we have a crisis overseas, but like we're drowning over here in the border.
When you can very easily get to the point where if you let your friends die, or if you let your friends be attacked, if they disappear, eventually what's going to happen is you're going to have no friends. You're going to be the only one standing out there.
I guess the bad guy.
And the other thing, though, the moral argument to that is that if you have the ability to be, if you're in the position to protect, and again, if you can protect the weak and protect the helpless and protect the people that do need protection, not to do it, it is truly talking about a moral vacuum, you know what I mean, that is created. They have to be filled by other things. And there's a lot of bad actors out there. Again, and going back to the argument that I made just a couple of minutes ago about people that don't hate, that don't like us. You know what I mean? They actually get to the point of hating what we stand for, everything connected to our process. That's definitely an issue. But this is an incredible, this is not a little, what did they say? Man, this is what, that trembling earthquake, the tiny 2.9. This is a massive I will tell you, let me name a few countries that I know for a fact that are looking at this moment, starting with Venezuela. And they saying, what the hell just happened here, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, they are in a very interesting situation right now where
Maria
they
Corina, the pressure from the U.S.
1,000%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is a very interesting moment for Latin America, but because this can be shifting things the other way. You
Can you
know,
imagine if it's South America, the one that's like carrying the flag for the US.
Capitalism, for imagine if they can remove the influence. By the way, he said he's not willing to do business with China. And China is already warning him, you know what I mean, reconsider your position. Or what? Or what? Right? It's like they don't want to do it. They don't want to do business with Venezuela. They don't want to do business with Cuba. They don't want to do business with Nicaragua. They're not going to do business with anybody who's officially a socialist, communist, you know what I mean? And so that's a clear position. We're not going to do business with you. They also want to remove the central bank so they can dollarize Argentina. So it's the only way to control inflation, right? By the way, another country that has dollarized their income, their currency, is El Salvador. You know what I mean? Which
and they're doing just fine.
If I was Javier Milei, which is the new president, that's his name, the new president. I would be right now.
Hanging out with Bukele.
I would say, Mr. President, Javier Gerardo Milei, the first country that you should visit is not even the United States. If I were you, I would be like jumping on a plane, having a full day conversation with Bukele, saying, here's my blueprint. Let me look at your blueprint to see how you got to that point, and let's see if there are any things that you can use and compare that will be helpful for the Argentinian people. This is, again, a great country that at some point had a great economy. It was the fifth. It's funny because at some point it was United States, Great Britain, Japan, Venezuela, talking about crazy times, you know what I mean? Venezuela and Argentina.
It was less than 20 years ago.
Yeah. And so right now they're 100 and God knows what when it comes to their ranking on
behind Haiti.
On the exactly. Just think about that, right? And so yeah, you know, I'm absolutely optimistic about some of the stuff that's taking place here.
Me too.
There's also a very interesting individual running for president for Mexico. He's got a strong possibility. Our good friend Eduardo Verastegui,
The Sound of Freedom,
who was the film producer of The Sound of Freedom. You know what I mean? And again, he's coming in he's running as an independent.
He's hanging out with Bukele.
Yeah, he's running as an independent. He's got the support of all of these guys, from anywhere from, including Javier Milei. They have the time to spend some time together. So again, I see it as a very interesting movement. You know what I mean? That's moving in that right direction. But if you go back to, for example, the 2022, Giorgia Meloni became Prime Minister of Italy. Again, this is a lady that was painted as right-wing extremist and so, pulling back Italy, you know, again, reducing the amount of, very interesting scenario, right? Because the Pope, by the way, Javier Milei had some very strong things to say about the Pope. And here you have a Pope that right now essentially is very much socialist, you know, and somebody that, it's, you know, I'm struggling to say it, just is a little painful to accept the fact that he is a byproduct of that liberation theology that we spoke about, and his tendencies are, you know, the tendencies of a socialist, you know. And that has nothing to do with Christianity. A lot of people say, well, you know, Christianity and socialism, absolutely nothing to do with each other.
No, okay,
you know
right? It's like, it's all about personal accountability, isn't it? Por mi culpa, por mi culpa.
100%. Well, I mean,
like,
you know, the funny thing is that every time somebody gives me an argument about, well, Christianity is as socialist as it gets. No. Yeah. Listen, if it would have been socialist, he would have said, how about we all get crucified?
Yep.
Not just I get, right? You know what I mean? So, and that is the difference between one and the other. Socialists want everybody to get crucified, and so it's an unfortunate situation. But Geert Wilders from the Netherlands also just literally just got elected. This guy got elected on a anti-Islam, anti-immigrant coming into the country. This is not just a political, financial rejection of socialism and communism. Now he introduces also even a religious component, which I never seen that position to take. I think that just recently I was having a conversation about what happens when a religion becomes so detrimental to the structure of a country that people have to consider the possibility of downgrading the religion as a cult or as a political entity, but not as a religion, because there's a different layers of protections that have to be extended to an official religion that is registered in a country. And the fact of the matter is that this man promised that he's going to be shutting down all these religious schools for Islam. I mean, it's something that I never seen before. Who got overwhelmingly elected to become prime minister of so the Dutch are saying, listen, we are also going in a different direction. And in addition to that, like I said, Milei, Verastegui, you've seen
in Venezuela we have Maria Corina.
And Maria Corina for Venezuela, that if she was able to run a real election, just think about all the interference just to be able to run a campaign.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right?
Looks
the
like
fact that
what's
her
happening
life
here.
has been a risk, the fact that we take so many things for granted. But my point to you is that there's a lot of people that are already getting to the point of saying, you know what, we had enough of all of this conversation that sounds great, but it really doesn't do anything. It's not good for the economy. It's not good for the people. And so it will be interesting if we get a chance to witness a shift back to normality, to financial accountability, to financial results, to seeing people thinking along the lines of being just able to see their finances, the finances. Listen, the thing about capitalism that most people really don't understand, that if they were able to pick that up, they will embrace it in a different way. Imagine you can get to a place where the point of departure will be always the same for everybody. I don't care who you are.
But not the result.
But not the results. The results. When you guarantee the results, and so in the moment that you realize that you cannot extend it to everybody, that then you have to start reducing it to who do I extend it to, right? And that's when
you start playing God.
You went from the tyranny of the few to the tyranny of the masses. They created a tyranny of the few again. But the only thing that they managed to do was to invert the position. And yes, in many ways, it's playing God, it's playing everything. Listen, to me, this is a very interesting thought. You know what I mean? When I see these things taking place, nobody, I will tell you, you look at the guy, you look at the way he debated, you look at
the way that he communicates, he's very passionate.
You literally said, there's no way this guy, if everybody was complaining about Trump, this guy is like, and here's another interesting scenario with this group of people. They all, the way of introducing is a Trump-like type of candidate. As if somewhere, somehow, that is supposed to be an insult to anybody.
So what a phenomenal job is the media doing at edifying? Unintentionally, they're edifying.
Here's what you got to pray for. That he doesn't get. Listen, remember, the same way that there was a bureaucracy that fought Trump every step of the way in our country. Hopefully, he's able to see and learn that lesson out there to make sure that
Bukele.
Exactly, Bukele style, to be able to clean up as much as possible. He said that he will, but if it works, it becomes an undeniable argument when you're looking into what Nayib Bukele has been able to do, when you're looking into what this man can potentially do. And if that works, then the rest of Latin America is now in trouble when it comes to constantly promoting socialism.
But in a good
and all
way.
This idea, in a very good way.
Yeah.
In a very good idea. All these dictators, they are trying to position themselves for political reasons. Anyway, with that being said, go ahead.
Look, I want to make sure that we give perspective to our viewers, and it's like, if you look at, there are two financial systems that you can run through right now. One of them is capitalism, one of them is socialism. And at the most perfect version of socialism is still accomplishes one thing, which is making everybody the same. That is poor, right? Making everybody poor. Now, at the worst version of capitalism. I'm talking about crony capitalism, it being not true, the pure capitalism. But in the worst version of capitalism, you are still in the greatest country in the world. So do not, like, you know, if there's a closing remark and a closing message from me, especially if they're talking to this guy that I almost wanted to like punch him at the end of the night, just because, like, be aware of the enemy within. Be aware of the enemy within. Unfortunately, we're having these conversations where because I'm not getting my way, I get to victimize myself. I get to speak against the country that is giving me the opportunity to provide safety, security, and opportunity to myself, to my family, to my children. And if you compare it with any other, I don't care what you're talking, like, I triple dog dare you, write it on the comments. Go in the comments and pull up a really great argument as to another country that can give you the opportunity to provide safety, security, and opportunity to your children, to your family. You won't find any other country. So be aware of the enemy within. Share the message around and let people know, man, at the worst case scenario, in the worst version of capitalism, you actually end up with a better version of what socialism will ever be. You know, so that for me, it was such a big eye-opening conversation. It's we got to do more things in Spanish as well. We got to put a message out for the people that are coming into the country,
100%.
you know, and it's like, please do not come in entitled. Please come in with the mindset of what is it that I can do in order for me to be able to take over the opportunity and take advantage of the opportunity that this country can give to us. Because there is one thing, is that unfortunately a lot of the people that are being born here is the whole fishbowl effect, right? The fish is the only guy that doesn't know he's surrounded by water. But unfortunately, the way that some people are jumping into this fishbowl, they're actually coming with the same perspective, which to me it makes zero sense. If it's any doubt, if at any point it's a doubt, I'm forever grateful about the opportunity to this country, and I still believe that this is the greatest country in the world. Otherwise, my ass would have been somewhere else.
You know, there's a couple of things that I want to highlight. One of them is that I believe that at some point the country, you know, was acting more in a libertarian approach. You know what I mean? We were just allowing certain things to happen. Part of it is we just didn't even have the capability to provide the structure. This overwhelming, oversized, overbearing size of the government that we have today, it's a negative phenomenon. It's a negative result. Is creating professional politicians. By the way, that's what we have today. We have professional, phenomenal debaters, phenomenal politicians that the only thing that they know how to be is politicians. And a few people would be honest enough to say that the only responsibility of a politician is to get elected. And if in the process of doing that, they can do something good for some people, some do, you know what I mean? And I have come across good people that make the choice of going into politics. It's a nasty business. It's not an easy thing to get into it. You have to be willing to have every aspect of your life scrutinized and exposed in a way that even some decent people that made a few mistakes along life, they're saying, I'm not jumping into this. I'm not going to put my family through that. So you have some people that maybe on paper, right, have a cleaner record, but the reality is that they have no intentions or their own sequence of morals and you know, principles and values are so low to the ground that essentially they really won't provide any real solution to anybody. So when it comes to especially capitalism, you know, we don't have a perfect capitalism. I don't know that we ever had it, but we have times, we have periods of time where there was greater freedoms to operate.
Yeah.
There was less regulations. You know, when you think about you know, the moments where the country grew bigger, faster, right? It was during those periods, you know. And the fact of the matter is that I also don't want to minimize the fact that there was a significant amount of abuses along the way. I'm not saying the regulations are not needed. The problem is that we go from having zero regulations to over-regulate, right? And because the over-regulation creates a bigger size, bureaucracy
Government.
and a bigger size government. And the professional politician is always working in this side of the
They
aisle.
want
You
to,
know what I
of
mean?
course.
They want to be in this extreme, opposed to being in a way that says, okay, what will incentivize the desire for people to make additional investments. So right now that everybody's a little concerned about and I just want to give you this side example for a second, that is concerned about the amount of real estate that's under construction, and they say we have so many empty land, we have so much, what can we do? Well, you have a lot of developers that will say, I am willing to put the money into developing a little more so that it can also create, have a positive effect into the economy. If you, and this is something that is seriously being considered for a few states, if you can eliminate the taxable component, meaning I got to pay, let's say that I'm a significant size developer, and I got to pay $3, $4, $5 million in taxes, for instance. If instead of just putting those $3, $4, $5 million into the archives of government, let me just put it right into the economy, right, where I'm creating jobs, I'm creating again that level of housing and commercial economy. Exactly, just putting it out there, and to me, that's a no-brainer. Right. That's a take the money. You mean you're gonna put it just right back into the economy, and that's gonna create all the other taxable possibilities, right? Consumption, property, all of the things that are connected to income tax. I mean, you name it. There's a 20 other things that can come out as a benefit. That's a no-brainer. That's truly putting it right back into the economy. So we haven't had true capitalism that has been, I don't want to say well thought out, because we have some phenomenal people that put forward great plans, great ideas, but they haven't had the opportunity to implement it at that level. Because at the end of the day, we also have to deal with the opposite position, with the fact that some of the people know how to control the narrative of elections better. They know how to win elections, right?
Better salespeople. It's crazy that the capitalists do not know how to sell this.
Correct. So, but here's the one thing that we go at this time of the year, though, when we're talking about people shopping and Christmases. If you're a small business owner, if you're any size of business, as a matter of fact, you don't have to be a small business owner, but there's a small to mid-size that actually do have to deal with people in a more personal level. I wanted to actually recommend this book to them. We read this book.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
We actually met this guy.
We met this man, Will Guidara, on reasonable hospitality. Is it to not just survive, but also to thrive during these times, right? You have to introduce to your business and to anything that you do an unreasonable amount of service, unreasonable amount of hospitality, an unreasonable way to accommodate, and an unreasonable way to show that you're willing to bring value. And if you do, by the way, I highly recommend it. If you haven't have this chance to read this book, go read it, grab it, and it would be extremely helpful. For that movement that's taking place, shifting to a more of a financial accountability or a reasonable approach to financial accountability is the way I see it right now. I'm hoping and praying that what happens out of Argentina, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I always get a little nervous when I see somebody that's way over the top, because hopefully they don't get lost in the personality game. That's what they were accusing Nayib Bukele at the very beginning. You know what I mean? This guy wants to just be this super personality, but at the end of the day, it's undeniable at this point that he has done things that nobody, at this point, is beyond exceeding expectations for so many reasons. Just the Miss Universe pageant event that took place, that brought in about $120 million into the economy of El Salvador. First of all, when did you ever even consider the possibility of something like that? Never mind having the impact of $120 million going into. So again, I'm dying to see what kind of positive impact. Hopefully quickly.
He looked like freaking Mr. Universe when he was walking in. By the way, that was for real though. So, he looked the part as well.
Correct. With that being said, for everybody, please like, share, comment. Let us know. And I'm highly recommending to everybody to get this book. This is a very, very good book for you to have. Enjoy it. All right. Have a great time. Thank you.